question. Take your time. Let me know your answer. You ready? Are your telepathic sensors open? All right.
I'm ready.
There's the question. Very, very, very long question. Obviously, real question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. I mean, it's me.
I mean, I think
All right.
the answer is leaving my mind blank somehow. It's like the anti-question.
Was it
Oh my
the
God.
was it the ultimate answer and you had it, and because it can't exist in the human mind, it just disappeared? Wow.
It's gotta be that.
Welcome, Fedi Friends, to episode 58 of Fireside Fedi. I'm your host, Ozoned. Fireside Fedi is a show about folks within the Fediverse. If you're hearing this, you are the Fediverse. Before we begin today, I'd like to say a couple of things. First off, there's no guest here. I'll get to that in a second, but please, if you're enjoying this, don't forget to like, follow, share. That's how we grow organically in the Fediverse. And I want to get this information out, all these amazing projects people are working on, so that we can all share it, we can all learn from it, we can all grow. Also, this is less about growing and more about funny. Also, before we start, I'd love to see what folks can come up with as far as art or clips of the shows. You can tag us, or you can mention us at Fireside Fedi at social.firesidefedi.live. And some community members recommended the hashtag FSFArt, which says FS fart, or FSF clips. So, art clips, whatever, anything you might enjoy, go for it. My guest today is Anca. She told me this. I'm gonna mess it up. Mosoiu. Connector, instigator, maker, slime mode farmer, the slow knife, often a pedant. She, her, they. Except there's no Anca here. That's because I forgot to record the first half of the show. So, this is what you see now is about halfway through when her and I were already cracking each other up. And I hope that someday I can have Anca back on and apologize appropriately for not recording that. I'm sure this will make for good jokes and laughter later, but man, did I feel dumb. Anyway, we come in after Anca has told us about moving from Romania to Oakland to Springfield, Illinois, to being in MIT, and just this amazing cultural diversity that Anca has had the opportunity to see. And still, she was very into electronics at a young age and was on BBSs and things. So she is an absolute incredible person. I am grateful to her to have been on my show. And that's, again, I'm always humbled and amazed by you folks. You're all incredible. And I hope you all keep up the amazing work, because it's for everyone and it's amazing. And I'll let me take it away.
Habits a little bit.
Oh my God. I just realized I never hit record.
Okay, well, do so now.
I did. I'm sorry. I didn't hit record through any of that. What a jackass.
Thank God.
Oh, this has been such an amazing conversation.
Well, okay, that's all right. We'll catch the one. We'll there's still like whatever 45 minutes left.
Yeah, we keep going. Oh my God. This is perfect. This is definitely me. See, we nailed it again. I can't believe We just had an amazing 45-minute conversation. I I'm
Well,
trying to think
so
of names to
so
blame, but
so
yes,
for
please.
those of you that are just now joining us, what is happening here?
Uh oh yeah. Okay. So is the
Yeah,
question
so
to me or is the question to
yeah, the
you?
question, like, somebody, like, tomorrow is going to go on the live stream and get to this at the beginning. Like, what's happening here?
Yes, no. I'll edit in an intro and explain it.
Okay.
So continue on with your
Okay.
ah, I apologize. I am so sorry. I
It's
am
totally fine. Like,
I am
now,
so
see,
sorry, Anka. Okay.
okay, you got to do the pre-flight checks. But okay, so oh no.
I didn't. I have these things in a free play deck and I didn't do them.
Okay.
Oh.
Uh, so uh, where were
So
we?
so Anka, and it's still been amazing talk. I've been having a blast. Thank you very much. I hope you're having a blast.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Um, you know what? I'm gonna be really pissed. I'm gonna do something I don't do. Is this recording? Okay. Okay. I verified it's recording the audio because I was very concerned about that. Honestly, the video is what it is. Okay. God damn it. I'm so sorry. All right.
Well, we'll have to do this again some other time, but let's just keep going here. This is
Yeah.
good. This is
Okay.
fine.
So where we were was Anka being the top of her class. She's absolutely brilliant. She's gotten into these things at a young age, and she ends up at MIT and is a bit humbled by it, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, so exactly. So you're going from, like, from a place where you're sort of different and, like, quite fit into a place where, like, everyone has this sort of same set of skills and the ability to, like, learn things really quickly, and, like, has all of these great hobbies and interests and special interests and obsessions, and it was great, like that, as a place to wind up as, like, a young nerd who, like, really wanted to understand the world and, like,
Yeah.
learn about science and math and history and stuff like that. Just being able to be in a place where everybody really cared about school was great. Um, and like there and like even there, so,
Uh,
like, one of my friends, like, was in, like, four different majors, and he graduated with, like, physics
but it's
and math and stuff. But
you found your
most of us are
people.
like, yeah, I found my people, and, like, it was great.
It
And
just
there's
took you had to wait until you got to another place before you found your
yeah,
people. But
yeah.
everyone has people.
Mhm. Well, like, the one sort of thing that you really learn as an immigrant is that there is
Yeah.
somewhere else. There is
Yep.
somewhere else. If what you have now is not good enough or is bad, then you go somewhere else. There is somewhere else. And so, as a young person, that kind of taught me a little bit about, not putting up with, oh, if I don't like this, I'm just going to leave, and sort of not fixing problems, but just leaving them because hey, I could just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But there's that also has, positive,
Wow.
mostly positive things, because, like, you don't have to put up with, being mistreated or, um, etc. But I'm also, like, super stubborn, and so I've stayed in situations longer because I'm like, I'm not giving up.
See, we say
So
stubborn, but where's the
mhm.
difference between stubborn and tenacious?
So I guess I would say probably stubborn and tenacious is, one of them has a more positive, positive,
But like at what point, right?
content.
Some of the greatest minds alive, they just kept at it.
Yeah. Well, I think, the difference between
You're,
stubborn and tenacious is, for tenacity, maybe you know more about what your goal is, and being stubborn, sometimes you're just being contrarian. But
okay,
um,
okay. On that, yes. Now I see
mhm,
where you're coming from. Again, it never
yeah.
ceases to amaze me. My guests are like always thinking up here, and I'm right. I'm not. I'm off the screen, and I love that I get to talk to so many brilliant people because I definitely am not. So, but that's, yeah, holy shit. That, again, massive culture shock. So is that your,
Yeah.
again, that's your story, is massive culture shock, because that, like, I could see on the one hand, like you're saying, is like, I'm the smartest one and now I'm not. That could feel very pressuring. But also, everyone had such, you found your people there finally, which was a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Well, like I didn't like me being smarter than other people was not necessarily something that I needed to like for my own like ego or whatever.
Yes.
Uh, so like I guess what I really wanted was people who could understand like this obsession with like trying to find answers or like, staying up all night to make sure that this program that you wrote actually does what you wanted to do, or,
I've been there.
reading a 1,000-page history book because you want to find out like what happened to the Cathars. And,
too,
um,
too many times have I thought very deeply about what happened to the Cathars. Feel free and tell
oh,
us what happened to the Cathars. I know, but for the audience,
oh yeah. So
who
they
are the
were,
Cathars? What
so,
happened to them? It's a
so they
documentary
were
now.
like, yeah, they were in, I think this is like the 1400s, like sometime in the Middle Ages or late Middle Ages. They were a Christian sect that was not a mainstream. They didn't worship or follow the Pope, and so they had their own thing going
Okay.
on, and they were persecuted, and many of them were executed or killed or massacred. And so they're like, and I read this book literally 30 years ago now, so
Oh my
I just give
god.
you the very brief thing, but yeah, so I had so for so another thing about me is that I was very curious about like religion and spirituality and stuff like that, because in a communist country, like in Eastern Europe, religion was officially non-existent. So like the state said, "Oh yeah, there is no God, there's no religion, your churches are not, you cannot go worship." And so when we came to the United States, my family was like, my mom was, "Oh great, now we can go to a church." And so I went to church, and
Huh.
I'm like, "Okay, this is all very interesting, and like, what is this all about?" Kind of started reading up a little bit, and then I read,
Wow.
like interested in history, and then I read about like the persecution that the Catholic Church did against anybody that was not Catholic, and like the witch trials and the all that stuff that was going on, and then the Reformation, and like all of these things that like made it seem like religion was like a clown show. And so I was like, wait a minute, like
Again, another culture shock. I'm gonna name this episode Culture Shock.
okay,
Because going from no religion at all, it was not like a part of your day. You didn't have, like,
yeah,
to coming in and then looking at it through the critical eye and actually looking at the history, which is something that a lot of people who've been in it since they were born don't even do. Like, I am
yeah.
not religious, but I grew up a Catholic. So it was always with me, and you came in from this outside. So you were the troublemaker. Did you make any friends that were in, like, that went to church or were very devoutly religious, and then you like turned them off of it or anything? Because I was gonna say you're the friend that asks too many questions at the dinner table.
Yeah, I don't know for sure. So I don't know if like, but I try to be respectful to people, if they have a religion and that they're not trying to recruit me into their religion,
Right?
then,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
perfectly respectful and all of that.
Yeah.
And, but I do ask people these questions sometimes that stick with them for days. And then they come back and go, "Oh my God, like, why did you ask me that question?" But, but yeah, I try to do that just to make sure that people,
Yes.
think critically about things and
You
not
can
just
have your
blindly
faith. I
follow.
can have my questions. We do not have
Yeah,
to,
yeah,
see eye to eye on that. That is fine.
yeah, yeah. So
Individual's choice, though.
exactly, exactly. And so like recruiting people is a part of some religions and not others. And so like it's interesting to see kind of how
Yeah.
which religions like are able to coexist more with others. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so like now we've talked about religion
We
and
talked about religion. Let's go ahead and talk about
back out of that one.
politics.
Yeah. Oh God.
Perfect.
um,
Uh, there's nothing going on in the world
yeah.
of politics anywhere to talk about.
Mm. Well, I mean, just to kind of like sort of bring it back around, like one of the things that I kind of realized, and I had I got a good job after I got out of college and moved back to
Hmm.
California, because I like really wanted to be here in California. And Boston is really a great place to live. Like it's got great culture. The weather sucks though, and so like as soon as I could, I moved out back to California, and I've been in Oakland like this entire millennium. Well, sorry, in the Bay
That,
Area this
you know
entire
what?
millennium.
No, I'm calling you out on that one. That one doesn't hurt.
Hmm. Hmm.
This
Okay,
millennium
that's
doesn't
good.
hurt. But you say the other one. Oh my God. 90s even.
Yeah.
90s is fine. 80s is fine. What are they? The naughties or the oddies, whatever it is. Sure. Those don't hurt. But you say the other one. That doesn't bother you at all?
No, no, I think it's great.
Oh. No. Wow. Okay. Romanian to Oakland to Springfield, Illinois to MIT. Oh, from no religion whatsoever to Oakland, which is not anywhere probably, I'm guessing, I could be wrong, the same as Springfield, Illinois, to
Mm-mm.
anything like MIT. Like,
Yeah,
these are whole core. Wow. Those are like, to me, wow, that's crazy. Most people only know
yeah,
one of those their whole life, right? And you got to see
yeah.
such amazing diversity.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of it was because my parents were trying to find a better life for themselves and us. But like once I went to one place, I was very curious about going to the next place. And
Hmm.
even the last little while, like I worked a few consulting jobs where we would do projects in other cities. And so I would like, I spent like, I think 2 or 3 months in Salt Lake City, Utah, and like 6 or 8 months in Portland, Oregon, like just working on projects like in the early internet days. And so I've tried to spend as much time as possible in lots of different places to see what it's like, what people, what do people do? Like, are there cultural places to visit? Is everybody
Wow.
just like, hanging out in their homes or the mall? Is like a lot of American towns and cities are not necessarily like designed for visitors, but some of them have a lot more things that are, come check out the awesome thing that we have. And so like, yeah, there's like, if you go to California and you drive up a couple of our north-south highways,
Okay.
there's all of these like great little towns that are like trying to bring people in because they're like trying to get visitors. Um, and so that's really fun. But then there's other places where like they don't want people coming in from outside. And so there's
Okay.
all of these kinds of localities in the United States that is fascinating to see. Like some places that really welcome like people coming in from outside and like settling and like growing and expanding what's going on, and then others where they're like
Interesting.
more closed. And it sometimes depends on like who's moving around. And so um, yeah, so it's
Huh.
always like for me,
I never
I
really.
always think about like, is a place a good place for people to immigrate to? Are there things that the culture is trying to be friendly to strangers and trying to like bring them in and like welcome them and coach them and make them feel like they're part of the whole society or not? And that's a very different
Uh,
tangent, I think, but yeah,
no. Yeah, that that was a place I didn't expect. But like, so, hmm, that's an interesting way to. And I've never really seen that. I've only ever seen, like, I didn't really have community. Like hmm.
Well, like, have
I
you
didn't
ever
really go
like?
to church. I didn't have community there. I didn't like my school. I didn't really interact with anyone. So I didn't have a community there. So you had all of these amazing communities too. God, I love talking to people
Yeah.
because your life has been so much more different than mine. And yes, it's MIT and Oakland and Romania. Like, but it could have been the, local college, but we live such drastic lives that I love to get to
Mm.
know other people like that.
Well, so like you're in Maryland right now?
I'm in Raleigh,
In
outside of
Raleigh,
Raleigh,
North
North
Carolina.
Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And like, do you ever go like to a random restaurant like that's not in your part of town, just to sit there and like listen to the conversations and what people are
No.
talking about? Oh yeah, it's fascinating.
Oh, I like watching
Yeah.
people and I like watching how they interact, but I have two little kids, so like that didn't even cross my mind as something fun to do. My
Oh,
wife and I
yeah.
have to make schedules to go out on date nights at this point. we don't have we don't have Anca
Okay.
freedom.
Well,
We're
um,
not we're we're not we're not go out to a diner just for fun and freedom yet.
well, I mean,
No, no, but
that could happen. Like,
and
go
you
driving around, like drive to drive to
yeah,
Louisiana or Georgia or like just kind
just
of
go meet people.
yeah
I would love
yeah.
that. See, and I was always the type though when someone like was talking to me at a restaurant, I was like, I don't know you. Now it's
Yeah, but
like
see, like,
I just talk
yeah,
back now. Someone says something like, yeah, man.
well, you have a podcast, like you kind of that's like
we
that's a that's an extroverted kind of thing, you know.
I was introverted forever. So like this no one listens to this anyway, right?
Well,
That would make me
apparently,
feel
like at
very
least three
awkward.
people do.
Oh God,
There's at
no.
least like three people in the chat here.
And they caught the first half. See? You guys should actually oh my god, and I realized something's not right down at the bottom. Something's not right. Oh, I forgot to hit record halfway through. Um you only get the first half if you were in the live stream. This is a
That's right.
special offer today. Actually, too late. You missed the offer. You had to be here when it happened. So come to the live stream more,
Yeah.
guys. Because I can screw up hitting record. Um, so when and people think that I have this idea that you like have to be related in some way and working with the Fediverse or something like that because it's Fireside Fedi. And I'm like, no, I just want to know you as a person.
Mm.
So we just talk about the person. We don't have to talk about the Fediverse stuff, but you are actively involved in like Fedi form, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
how did you get involved with the Fediverse? Like, what are you doing with like what do you want your contribution to be? Because it seems like you are very actively involved. You're not someone that is just talking about something else. You're in the trenches.
Yeah, well, that's the part where like I'm the instigator and the connector,
Okay.
not just the slime old farmer. Um, and there's like there's kind of a roundabout story that gets to that point. But I'll start with back in so after I graduated from college, I worked for a consulting company. I worked for like one of the very first like web design development companies, Razorfish. So we were building like all of these websites and then we had the crash in 2001, which was like a very interesting time of which we may see in 2026 with AI, the AI bubble kind of popping, and we'll see what happens. But there was this huge devastation in the internet industry there, and I was starting to think like, hey, maybe I should work for myself. And I had these ideas, and I kind of kept
Yeah.
working for other people. And then in 2009, I'm like, all right, I'm going to start my own company. I want to be able to teach like more people who are like more like ordinary people, like how to use all of these tools that seem inaccessible. And this is like 2009, so like people were just finally starting to learn about blogging, and Twitter had just Twitter
Okay.
existed, but like there's social media, Facebook, like all of these
Mm-hmm.
things were brand new. And I started to help people learn and build things with WordPress. And so I built some really awesome stuff with WordPress, which is like well, you know what WordPress is. Like it's
Yeah.
the powers 40%. It's like open source publishing software that powers something like 40% of all websites. Um, and seeing
It's
WordPress,
40%?
yeah. Um,
Oh, I didn't
and
realize it was so high. Holy
although, that number may be going down as AI generates more websites without having it to be having any humans involved at all. But yeah, WordPress is this incredible open source tool that
wow.
has a plugin
Mm-hmm.
framework and an incredible community of people. Like the main reason why WordPress is as successful as it got was because of people like spending time not just like writing code, but also providing support, providing training, um, creating meetups and organizing like WordPress events, WordCamps, which are
Okay.
500 people show up, and
Yes.
it doesn't cost like $5,000 to attend these conferences. It's like $50. And so it's a very accessible technology that was designed for anybody to learn how to use it. So I started a company and I've been coaching and teaching people how to build stuff with WordPress for a long time. And uh, but I didn't just start one thing. I had this idea in my head that wasn't as clear as maybe it should have been. And so I kind of had a co-working space and I had like a maker space and we were teaching like electronics classes and doing all kinds of really interesting technology things
Okay.
in all of these different places. And
Yeah.
at a certain point, like it got to be a little too much because I wasn't like focused enough. And so I got this job. I went to work for a startup that was doing some data analytics. And my friend was working there and like recruited me in, and that was nice. And that was like 2018. And then in like 2020, February of 2020, we found out that, oh, this startup is being acquired by Twitter. And I thought, oh my God, like I don't know if I want to work for Twitter. But then like February 2020, and everybody got sent home because of the pandemic. And I was like, okay, this is not a great time to like to rock the boat. And so I wound up at Twitter as the pandemic was starting. And like all of this amazing stuff was happening with like people that suddenly being remote and like, doing all of the
Yeah.
onboarding over Zoom or Google Meet and just like shifting the way that we work together. And like working for Twitter was an incredible experience. It was another one of these places where I showed up and like most of the people there were like super into what we were doing. And there were like a lot of things that were very inefficient and like lots of like stupid
But
politics and
they had the culture.
inefficiencies,
They
but
had the belief.
yeah, like a very, very good culture. And there were
Mm-hmm.
some very strange stuff that happened. And so when like Elon Musk came around and wanted to buy the company, like there was a lot of like, oh no, is this really going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
etc. And like when it did finally happen, like um, the way that they laid us off, like at the beginning, like the first set of people who were laid off on like November 8th, 2022, we found out because we were like all on our Slack channel and we were getting disconnected from Slack as our access was being cut off at like 10 p.m. at night. Um, and I was like pissed. I mean, like, because we had this like this great culture that people were like pulling together in
Wow.
these, and like it was this incredibly like
Oh my
rude
God.
awakening into everything that was going to happen. And so then I'm like, damn it, like I just like spent like 2 years here. Like I met some really amazing people and learned a bunch of really cool stuff, but like you know, I don't want to. I'm not gonna. I don't want this to happen again. And so I had actually joined Mastodon in like 2018,
Okay.
when we were just like doing some like cool hacking thing and we were exploring like new kinds of things. And so but in 2022, I'm like, all right, I locked down my Twitter account and have not logged in since then. Um, and moved over to Mastodon.
Okay.
And so, it kind of brought me back to the work that I was doing before the pandemic of like trying to like build community around accessible technology that is usable by people that don't spend their entire lives learning how to code. So
Wow.
yeah, and I mean that's part of why I'm involved with
I,
the Fedi forum, because I think it's really important to like start building this kind of community where like it's not like seriously like
no, 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 no. I'm laughing because you're just like, so yeah. I like that was. I never knew you worked for Twitter. Were
it
you?
was a blip.
I see, and I love this because there's so many former folks that have worked on building this stuff that are looking at this saying we can do it because we've already done it, but we have the power to do it the way that we want.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So you were
Well,
one of the first wave. You were in the first wave to get.
yeah. Yeah, I worked for part of the organization that was like doing like in the platform organization. And so everybody that wasn't like directly involved with like some of the very specific things that Elon Musk was interested in was kind of like, no, okay, you're out of here. Um, and you know, it was kind of it took me a long time to kind of realize, okay, that's actually kind of a relief because like
You didn't want to work
at
for
least
him
it's
anyway,
at least
right?
it's over. No, 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 and I would have
Yeah.
had to like quit. Um, and
No, he did you
so
a favor.
but yeah,
Like,
yeah, but still, like
no,
what happened to Twitter was kind of like a great lesson in
mm-hmm.
how not to put like critical, like infrastructurally important communication on a corporate platform.
So, and that's it's.
Um,
I was on the other side of the fence, always looking at Twitter too, like they don't know the fire that they're playing with.
mm-mm,
Like, I was on that side, and I knew that there were so many people that believe that Twitter was the, you know, people believe they believe that you
yeah,
could create this open network. It can't be tampered with, like that we will make it so that everyone can depend on us. And it went wrong, essentially, right? Like,
yeah.
very wrong.
Well, the part
Eh,
where I mean, I think the part where it went wrong and it's going wrong and wronger
Yeah.
um, is kind of the incentives that that Twitter or X yeah I hate that word, I hate that name, but you know the
It's not a name,
incentives
it's a letter in the
in
alphabet, and he can't have it.
well, so the the incentives on social media, especially when when the people are not sustaining it, is the incentives are all wrong. Like
Yeah,
we're not the customer, we're the product. And like,
right,
you know, as a customer of Facebook, so when I run my business, I could run ads on Facebook and they work really, really well because they've got this sort of captive audience
right,
and you can
yep,
like you can target things. Okay, everybody who lives on the east side of Oakland or everybody whose location is not San Francisco. And there's like ways that you can target people that
yeah,
are impossible to do other places.
yeah.
So there's some benefits
I mean,
from
have you read Sarah Wynne Williams' book,
I have not.
Careless
Um,
People? It's about
yeah, yeah,
Facebook
yeah. It's one of
manipulating algorithms to gain political advantages, if you believe that kind
yeah.
of thing.
Well, yeah, it's
It's a good
so
book.
easy to do
Yeah,
when you have everyone there. And so I just like I fundamentally don't have trust that anyone where you have like one organization kind of responsible for like privacy and
yep.
security and trust that they're going to do a good job. And
It's
like they're gonna do what they need to do for their stakeholders, not necessarily what's best for
yep.
somebody who is
No,
you know, a minority and not able to like have their voice out there.
and we
So,
have. Do you think we've learned this lesson, or we still have more to go?
I mean, we depends on who you
We,
mean by we.
yeah, you, yeah.
So
Obviously,
like,
we're here.
yeah, well, I mean, so in the 1900s, we had all of these like science fiction books that were written about how you know somebody is going to take over like they were going to take over the world by getting in people's heads or getting all the information or like
Yeah,
Philip K. Dick kind of predicted so much of this stuff actually,
yeah.
like brilliant author. Also lived in the Bay Area, but like I was reading these stories about like how you know the fact that somebody could watch you and like the
Mm-hmm.
whether it's Big Brother or Frank Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg, Frank Zuckerberg is
Hey, good old
his
Frankie
less
Zuckerberg.
menacing, brother.
You know him from Kidney Book.
But
Frank.
I mean, as soon as you put like all the money or all the information or all the power in like one
Yeah.
set of hands, like that's
No,
a danger.
and you don't have to answer if you don't want, but like, did you guys see that coming? Did you talk about that before it hit the fan? Because again, my whole fear always was, and maybe I'm just an anxious person, intent I am, that anyone accessing that data, not even like, you don't know who's back there. I, as an
Hmm.
individual that doesn't work there, Bob could let his kid play on the servers for all I know. And that always was
Hmm.
like, there was going to be someone in this line of trust that I don't trust.
Yeah,
Therefore,
yeah,
for
yeah.
me, it's not worth it.
Right. Well, you have to use it with this knowledge that like it's maybe a hostile situation for you. And I mean, like, would people be having
Yeah.
sex in their Teslas if they were aware that like, Tesla employees could watch them through their cameras? So like when you think about, and I spent some time in Twitter's privacy organization, and so like, what like the best way to not have your privacy like broken by whoever your vendor is to just not tell them that information in the first place. And sometimes you can't really do that. So like for example, like when now we have these social media sites where you have to provide your driver's license to prove that you're a certain age in certain places, like
Uh-uh.
those things are super super sketchy because there aren't really I don't think that in these cases like people doing this ID check are taking as much care and putting in as much safety as they should be.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
so you'll
Oh
hear
no.
about like,
No, no, no. And they're going with the lowest contracted bidder.
yeah, and
That's
like
horrifying.
at Twitter there were like some pretty long discussions around like, okay, how do we prove that someone is who they are? Like, what are the tools that we use to do that? And
Yes.
the way that verification worked, and a lot
Yes.
of thought went into it.
And
And then Elon Musk was like, oh, just pay $8 for it. And that was like, what the, how can you take that and like, convert something where it's like this is a
yeah.
verified person into, oh, it's just $8 worth of like anybody can have this for $8.
Yes, you could have set the gold standard on identification,
Hmm.
and then he pissed it away.
But I mean, that's not what he was looking for.
Yeah.
He was looking for a place to
Oh
put
no,
forth this
yeah.
propaganda, like,
Yeah.
um, and so growing up in under communist in a communist regime, like the things that you saw in the media were not trustworthy because of the government, and now like the things that you see on the media are
Holy
not
shit.
trustworthy because of the media, like the people that own its companies. Um, so there's a lot of things that have changed in like how we in the United States at least speak about like privacy, how we speak about safety, how we speak about rights,
Yeah.
how we speak about the truth. Um, and so
Oh,
like
I've never
so
huh.
those are things that like that there's like they're broken right now, and we're experiencing something that somebody who was growing up in like 1970s in the Soviet Union would be familiar with, like some of the things that are coming out
Wow.
of so yeah. Um,
So,
so like
I'm not laughing at you. I'm not laughing at the
the grim
conversation.
state of the
I'm
world.
laughing at again. I knew nothing really about Anka. Anka's quite timid, and then you drop this Arnold Schwarzenegger like action film on me, and it was so off of what I expected. This has been amazing, but like that scares the hell out of me. You've seen this essentially before, right?
Hmm.
And those are yeah, we people people went from the government shouldn't read my mail or tap my phone lines to I have nothing to hide. Right? That's
Hmm.
so go ahead and check. And they've done such a good job at that that's basically the default. I have nothing to hide. And it's like people, it's like, what? Oh, can you give me 1 minute? My wife needs me. This show's all over the place anyway, so I'll be right
All right. Well, if
back.
anybody in the chat has a question, I can answer that.
Okay. So, my wife needed me. No
Yeah.
offense.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, um. So you find the Fediverse to get back on track because like we keep going with
Yeah.
this. And you're still at Twitter, and then you're there when. Man, you're amazing. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to me about this because I would have never gotten this chance to interact with someone like yourself, someone like Andy, someone, like Dan. It is something wholly unique.
Well, you provide a space for people to express themselves, and that makes it different. I mean, you're like the Terry Gross of the Fediverse.
Thank you. Who? Oh, Terry Gross from NPR?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No. Oh.
I mean, there isn't anybody else doing this, like just asking people these kinds of questions, or maybe Mark
Terry
Barron,
Gross is awesome. I love
Yeah.
Terry Gross from NPR. I support my NPR station. Be a sustainer. But even not even just like here like this is like I met all of you through this common network. And we find our people. Right? And that's what people want, and it seems like people aren't finding their people. Yes, they are in groups, but that group is fucking annoying. Because I don't want to have to interact with them, but I have to interact with them. And here it is people. We can connect to each other on a different level, like you said, like down to a chat like this. It humbles me and blows me away. So thank you, and everyone else.
Aw, like a little heart.
See, that's the Anca that I knew. I wasn't expecting this Titan to come out of the ashes here. Okay.
Well, when there's like a different thing going on, like I want to make sure that there's room for everyone. And that's something else, like as a if you want to build a real community, like you have to let lots of people like have their say and have their space. And so yeah.
Yeah, and the diversity is amazing.
I know you probably want to hear what happened next on the show, but the following section is only available on the Fediverse. These uploads to big tech platforms such as YouTube, they're just to spread awareness about the Fedi. They were never supposed to be the official way for you to watch the show anyway. So go on and get the full episode on video.firesidefedi.live. It is absolutely free. Just a different website. This video will now continue from a bit later in the conversation.
Well, like the choices that you had, at the beginning in 1990 about hosting your files and things like that.
Yeah.
A lot of those are still applicable.
Oh, yes.
You can still have like a server sitting somewhere in a closet that is connected to the internet.
Yeah.
That you can use the FTP files into if you want to.
Yep.
Like all of that stuff still exists.
Well, so I've been hearing so many people like, have you heard about this RSS thing? I was like, 20 years ago? And they're like, what? No, you didn't. It's like, yeah. No, actually, I was in high school. RSS has been around longer than us. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, so there's like whole generations. Like
that didn't. Yeah.
Gen Z and alphas, like your children.
Yeah.
Who, who's going to teach them about the open internet? Who's going to like tell them, like, back in the 1900s.
Oh God, now you're scaring me.
Like, back in the 1900s, we took this thing that was developed like by the military industrial complex and made it such that every human can benefit. Oh my God.
Oh, and again, this is why I'm so upset that I didn't record the first half, because I think that's the first one you did when I've been recording. For those that don't know, for us people born in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you will give us a heart attack if you say the 1900s. It hurts. Oh my God. Ooh, please don't do that. It's like our kryptonite. Oh my God. That's how I knew I was old, by the way, is like that legitimately hurts. Okay.
Well, I'm starting. I'm starting to think like, are you a millennial?
Don't you dare. No, I'm it depends on what you look up. I'm going with the Gen X because I'm right on that line. And if you look up one, it says like 82 to 83 is a millennial. I am not that. I'm Gen X, but I've seen some of them that say no. It goes down to 78, and I say you're a fucking liar. Don't you dare.
Okay.
So one of my concerns is like, is this going to be like open source that just struggles, to get itself paid, even in the time of corporate Linux taking over everything in the back end? There are still those developers out there that can't even get paid enough to put in a full-time job on a critical application or a critical library, right? Like, I've donated to them in the past because Red Hat won't, Microsoft won't, because it's not critical, except it is. And
yeah, I mean that there's a lot of efforts out there where people are trying to come up with ways to credit like contributions and try like micropayments for fixing bugs and things like that. Like,
and yours is in teaching, that's what it sounded like, right? You want to, and when you were talking about that earlier, that's kind of similar with what I'm hoping to eventually do. Is like, I see it as like going to businesses and teaching them, be like, hey, you really should own this stuff. You can own it. Other people can connect to you. I can show you how. I can help you understand it and learn it. And like, those are going to need to happen at some level from someone.
Yeah.
It's akin to you're teaching your grandfather like a mobile phone, or you're teaching someone like not a kid anymore, right? All kids grow up with it. They basically know how to do this from birth because it's always in front of them. But that we're going to have to help people understand how this works.
Well, we're going to have to help people who are younger who don't know that they can own the stuff.
Yeah.
So who've been kind of like thwarted by censorship, or
that have never,
wow. So like this, you should watch this. Like when your kids are in school, and they're like working in these little Google Docs to like collaborate on work and things like that. Like school kids have like a whole language for like talking to each other in Google Docs while trying to elude the censors and like the filters that are trying to make sure that they're not like, talking about going down to the, to the field to tip some cows. And or things that are much more serious.
No cows were tipped in the making of this video.
But yeah, so like your children are growing up under the most like draconian panopticon that has ever existed in human history. And so how like
Anca, thank you so much. I feel so much better about life. Oh my God. I don't know. Like, yeah, no, I mean, I wasn't going that far with it, but they literally are growing up in a world I literally cannot understand as much as I grew up in a world they can't understand.
But you can, like, when they get to be like 13 or 14, you can be like, or younger, depending, you can say, hey, by the way, you can set up your own, Mastodon server or something that would allow them to kind of have their own privacy and community that isn't going to be spied on by like terrible people. And that's actually,
if that, I mean, what you're saying, it makes sense, right? Like my kid grew up in front of Google Chrome on his books. Like he has me to talk about computers and explain that stuff. And I will expect them to have a specific level of understanding, more, in my opinion, than the common user of a cell phone just works. Because I think we need to know how the stuff underneath works. I'm not going to read it. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
that level, right? But we need to have a fundamental understanding of how this stuff works, in my opinion. But there are so much more people out there that don't have anyone that knows, again, let alone the time. So how there, there's that problem of how do we actually find people and get those people, because they're only looking at their phone. And why would I pick Mastodon at home when I have, or why would I pick Twitter when I have Twitter at home? Right? Like that's what it comes down to for a lot of people. And they are not going to understand it's decentralized. They're not going to understand you have your choice. Nor are most people going to care.
Well, and it's that, but and also um, there's a lot of unknowns or unexpected things that come with it that people need to know a little bit more about. So, like if you think about when you set up a Mastodon server, you are by default open to everybody on
That's
Fediverse to
right.
like to bring stuff in. So how do you help someone learn how to do that in a way that doesn't then all of a
And
sudden add this job of like blocking instances that are harassing your users or things like that.
right.
And so there we have more work to do to make all of this as usable as, let's say, WordPress was in 2008.
Yes, and that's and there was a business opportunity to use those things, and that's where I
Hmm.
see trying to make the biggest differences for your business, for your customers, for your community. You can run this, you can control. Anyone can log in, or you can rent it out to someone that moderates it for you, or something like that. But it is your community. That's where I see it going. And right now we go to martial arts and we have this little web-based login thing. And I told my wife, how amazing would it be if they could have like their own bonfire instance?
Hmm.
That is theirs. They could teach those kids in the comfort of their own environment how to use this thing that is going to be there forever and has, as far as they're concerned, been there forever. So we need to teach kids these things. And you could do it in that kind of safe environment. And oh yeah, by the way, you can open it up a bit so people can log directly in. Like, I'm here now and you know it, but also, by the way, if we could get
Yeah.
your church involved, they can run their own, and it's pretty minimal, and your guys can cooperate. Like that's where I see we get people caring.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get like my mother-in-law caring about this.
Well, she'll care about it when there's more of a benefit to her for doing
Yes.
something
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
different than what she's doing now. And so
Yeah.
we talked a little bit about interoperability earlier.
Mhm.
How great would it be if you had your instance, that your family instance, and then you could like, send the
Yes.
photos out to like the other
Yes.
family instance, and you're like sharing a
Yep.
feed
Yeah.
between each other. But that's not how it's structurally set up right now. But I
Yet.
feel like there's well, I'm working on something about like on that in that vein
Are
right
you?
now. And so, well, yeah, we haven't talked about like what I'm doing like for work right
No,
now,
I
but
was gonna ask. We just keep
but
going. I love
we'll
this
get there.
conversation.
Well, it's all going, and oh my gosh, it's sort of like, yes, we've run our time out just a little bit.
And we're
Um,
not even, we
but
still have the quiz, and I want to know about this. Yeah, what are you
okay.
working on?
Yeah, so I'm working with a startup called All Peep, like all the people, and we're building community software that is so right now it's like it's closed source, it's private, but we're being paid by our customers, so we're kind of prioritizing their needs. But what we are planning on building this into is a tool that has like an opt-in federation component, so that people can create their communities where they can have their conversations,
Oh
and
my
they can then
God.
plug in to something else. So they can say, I'm going to plug in this pipe to put my content on threads. I'm going to plug into this other community. So like if I'm the pickleball of Oakland community and I want to have
Oh,
a competition with the volleyball community, we can sort of create a channel for communications and shit talking. So like all of that kind of stuff. Um, all that stuff like should be kind of how we how communities can communicate online. So in like 2008, was like 2008 to 2012 was like the peak of blogging, where everybody had their blog and they were like publishing and people could subscribe on RSS, and there were these like, all of these aggregators, so you could find out like, when Ozone posted his most recent
Yeah.
pontification, and that was really great. But it did kind of mean that you had to do some more work. And so then we got, okay, now we go to Facebook. And then every time I post to my blog, I'm going to put a note on Facebook. So no one has to subscribe through RSS. Now they can subscribe to Facebook and find out about my blog, and that, their cousin got married and there's a new baby and somebody died. And like all of this kind of stuff gets mixed up. Like, business stuff and personal stuff gets mixed up in this like one social media uh,
Okay.
ball. And so like people went from, all of my communication is here, this is great, or they went to Facebook where like everything was there for them,
Right.
they were being spoon fed all the things they needed to pay attention to.
Right.
But so I think we're kind of in this area, and blogging though is coming back with Federation and Activity Pub, where people are now, oh, I still should have my own website and domain where I have all of the things that I know,
Yes.
that then can be like,
Yes.
this is my body of knowledge that represents what I want people to know, and it belongs to
Yeah.
me, as opposed to it's just published on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn has permission to like do whatever they want with it. And so that's going to come back, but there are lots and lots and lots and lots of organizations in the world that are not like trying to be, they're not bloggers to try to make money. They're like small community organizations that need to have a place for people to find the
Yes.
information, and they have a history. And those people, like, they still need their own websites. They still need to have their own place,
Well, and that's,
because
I think, I don't know what the stats are on where from around the world people are, but I see the actual United States playing really like less of a part in the rest of the world, because we've seen,
Mhm.
like, they've seen firsthand what can happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure that, half of them are taking the wrong lesson. Like, we need a bigger centralization in our country instead
Oh
of the
God.
US.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, there's also the other options that can, that people can have, the federation concepts.
Well, and I mean, they can, yeah, I mean, they could take, Mastodon and run their own internal. There's a specific orange man that runs his own, and it
Hmm.
is Mastodon. And that's, I try to explain to people when I talk about it. It's like, okay, well, Twitter, yes, you can run your own. It's like, oh, President Donald Trump's True Social. Oh, I've heard of it.
Hmm.
Like, you can run
Well,
your own like that, whatever community you want. I literally had this conversation today too. Is, I think Ian mentioned to me last time that, right now we're taking our, maybe it wasn't Ian. Anyway, we're taking our communities to a platform. Why not build our communities around ourselves?
exactly. Well, build a platform around the community, or, bring a platform, I guess, build a platform. Not everybody has the wherewithal to do that.
Right.
But like, so one of the All Peeps customers is this organization called Black Ambition. And we, this year for them, we built, like, their own online community. They have their own app where people can, from within the community, can communicate. And they need this because sometimes when they put things out on social media, they get censored, or, they're not able to fully, like, fully post things out in like on YouTube and things like that, because there was like bits of uh, event that had a piece of music that like is copyrighted, and so you have to jump through hoops to be able to show this on
Yeah. Yeah.
YouTube and
DJ.
stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I've talked
So
to people, DJs get that a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. And so, in order to like do their business, is like, it's much better to be in a separate space, a private community. But then all these people they're startups, and trying to develop their businesses. And so as they have to communicate with the outside world, um, they'll need some tools, and we're working on building some of those things, so that they can again connect to other communities outside of their own. um, and
Mm.
it's really great to kind of have a customer that depends on what you're doing, and is really like, it really drives the prioritization. In some ways it kind of forces you to go down a path, and you have to be careful not to go down the path that you don't want to go down for reasons. But it does mean that the work that you're doing, is immediately applicable. And so like I spent my early career as a consultant, so I have this idea, and maybe it's too naive or optimistic, but like, yeah, you come in and something doesn't work and you replace it, and then you build it again, and then you have to you can tear it down and start over. So that's like the consultant thing. And but like organizations don't really want to do that. Like
Yes.
there's a lot invested in like a
Yep.
particular application or platform or places where you store your data.
And they want
So
someone to
yeah.
call, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yes, yes.
every large company could run their own Linux operating system and pay developers to do, but they don't want to do that.
Right, right.
Right? They
Most
need
organizations, yeah, as a company, you have to do the thing that's novel and different about what you're doing. You don't want to reinvent something that someone else does
yeah.
better. And
Yeah.
and I, in my early career, I was involved in a couple of projects where like very large companies were trying to do something for the first time from first principles because they disagreed with some like, small aspect of how the the um, the current technology was doing it, and they would spend like millions of dollars and years and just kind of doing the stuff that like wasn't in their wheelhouse. But um, so
Yeah. No.
that's deadly if you're like a small business. Like if your tech company is trying to build software and suddenly you're building a project management system, which is like another sort of failure mode of startups, where like you can't build your product because you're too busy building a project management system. Um, like many tech startups kind of go in that direction where like
Wow.
we don't like this, and so we're gonna like get distracted. And like some of them like happen to like invent a great project management system, but then most of the time when that happens, you just fail to build what you need to do and you burn through your funding and have to start over. So
I'm just laughing because I'm
yeah.
realizing how much smarter than me you are. That's
But
yeah, no, well, and as because I'm laughing because like with the nonprofit, like I've spent more time actually looking at like what software should I use to call people? I could run my own. I'm going to run my own. It's like, but no, most companies don't care
yeah.
about that. They want to just get on with what they're doing, right?
Yeah, well, you have
Interesting.
to be ruthless about that as the sort of executive of a business. Like if all of a sudden, like, or a nonprofit, like if all of a sudden you're like inventing your own email newsletter software because for some reason you
yeah,
don't want to like email somebody,
yeah,
like uh yeah, and
yeah.
like so I think
That's
this is one point that I really want to make sure I make in this conversation, which is that one of the things you have to be very careful about when you tell someone, "Oh, Mastodon, it's just like running your own Twitter." Is you have to distinguish between the technology and the people in the community, because without the
yes.
people, the
Yep.
technology is nothing.
Yep.
And so
No, I mean that's
like
yes.
but when people hear you're running your own Twitter, they think, "Oh, a million people are going to come check out my thing." They're not thinking you're going to run this code that is like the code that Twitter used.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
they think on a
so
wholly different level.
yeah, so it's like, oh,
Oh
in
my
2000,
god, now you scared me
right?
again.
So when you tell people that Mastodon is just like Twitter, you have to really ask them what they think that means, because is it like all the people on Twitter? Is it like the software? Is it something else? Because like Facebook is a community of people
Yeah.
just as much as it is like a series of software or microservices or whatever it is. And without those people, that
Well,
technology
a-
wouldn't be useful at all.
and really the only one you're going to get still are the ones interested in trying it, or that
Hmm.
are free spirited, that are just like, yeah, let's give this a go, kind of ones that don't really have, like, there's people that are invested in how they get clients
Hmm.
through Twitter
Yeah,
or
yeah,
LinkedIn.
yeah.
Like they can't risk that. I understand that. um but I think when we get to the point of you don't even have to talk about Mastodon, you know, again, the Bridgie Fed guys. Aha, I got it. Mention, you know, like when Eugene and the activity pub owner were arguing back and forth, like they won. And it's like, that's when it becomes the default, right? When I'll just toot you. And like, and you say it seriously, and like it becomes normal, common vernacular, like and like that's, you won. That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. So that I think is kind of the lesson that we should walk away from this with is, it's not the technology so much as the community.
Yeah. It's an
And then
excellent point.
the community is to be supported by the technology. The technology does not drive the community, but the way that you implement the technology can drive behaviors in
And this
people.
is,
And so,
imagine this is what led you to be a part of Fedi Farm, because that's what it's all about.
well, I didn't want to see it like stop. Like it just, I attended. I think I learned about the second Fedi Forum, and I've been attending all of them since.
Oh, wow.
But I don't want to see it stop. Like I think it's a really important gathering of
Yeah.
people who to move this thing forward, and seeing like more non-technical people joining is really heartwarming, because as we do
Yes.
that, that's what's going to make it succeed. Is when you have
Yes.
people like Elena, who did the video, and then you have people that are using the tool but not sure how it works, or don't have to worry about it, but are
Yep.
creating like educational materials like Fedi tips. Those
Oh,
folks,
wow. That's so good.
like
Yes. You
that's
have
that's
to,
that is what will make it succeed.
and it is, let's, you know, that's, I know there are people that are like, this is for us. We want it just for us. And that's fine. That's the point. You can have it just for your friends. Like that's cool. But giving the people the opportunity to do that is, yeah, it is the people. I say that during my exit usually, you know, you are the Fediverse. The people are the Fediverse. The nicer we can be to those coming in, the more welcoming we can be to help people understand, the better off we all are. It really does grow like a community, right? It's not
Yeah.
what you know, it's who you know.
Yes.
I hate that
All
saying
right.
too, but it's so true. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
All right.
yeah.
Well, we've been going. I know the video is already an hour and 5 minutes, but
Yeah,
the
it's gonna be a roller
conversation
coaster.
is an hour and 50. So we should probably wrap it up. I could talk to you forever. If you're ever
Yeah.
in Raleigh, let me know, because we're gonna set aside.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take a week off so that you and I can talk. It might not be enough. I know that's a bit short,
Um,
but
let's do this again, like months from now or something like that, or
yes,
like when I have more new interesting things to say, and yeah.
yes. Okay.
So you mentioned there was a quiz.
There is a quiz, yes. Now, for the real reason I asked Anca here is to give him the prize, the opportunity to win a prize of a lifetime. Our prize today is a ticket to an uninterview. Since you help with Fediverse's premier unconference, we wanted you to try out an uninterview. We thought about having an actual professional interview you, but what's the fun in that when I can be here? Are you ready for the quiz, Anca?
Sure.
All right.
Hit me.
Favorite movie and why is it Spaceballs?
Oof. Blade Runner,
Which one?
the director's cut.
The original Blade
Yeah.
Runner, right? Like, okay.
The director's cut. Not the original, but the director's cut that was released in 1991.
I don't know if I've seen the director's cut. What does it add?
I think it's the one that you see now if you watch it. Like you have to go out on your. There's a scene. So the director's cut kind of makes it less clear, or maybe makes it less clear that Decker is human, and it makes it more more. It makes you question like whether he's also a replicant. And
that's
it's just
closer to the book.
Yeah, and it took out some of the narration that some people liked and some people did not. But I do have a deep appreciation for Spaceballs.
Well, why forgot the name of Blade Runner. Why Blade Runner? You just told me and I forgot.
Well, because it has like lots of great questions about humanity. It's got great music. It's got amazing special effects. It's just like a beautiful, beautiful movie, and
See,
there are few and far between that are quite as good.
see, and maybe it's the version that I watched because maybe that's the difference. I never knew there were two different versions, and maybe I've watched the bad one because I really don't like Blade Runner. Maybe I'm not that deep though.
No.
I mean, I'm not that deep to ask those questions of what is humanity from that. I just saw what's his name? Indiana Jones walk around getting his butt kicked for 2 hours, and in the end he doesn't do anything. Like, I've never liked it. It's gorgeous. It is a gorgeous movie. It is so, the set on that thing is incredible. The acting is amazing. The story is nothing. At least to me. Again, maybe I watched the wrong version or I'm not that deep. I think it's the latter. But it's never to me in the story hinted that like there was this question of what is alive. In the book, when I read it, it is very strongly Decker is questioning his humanity. Like the second one, because the second one, he is a synth, but he is questioning his, is he the one thing? Like
Are you talking about the 2049?
Yes, that one.
Okay, yeah.
Right, so I got that from that one, but from the Harrison Ford one, I didn't get it. But maybe I've seen the wrong version.
I spent like many hundreds of hours discussing this movie with people.
Okay, so I'll need 2 weeks off. Okay. All right. Next question. I don't know if we're gonna get through it in the next hour. Myxogastria, Dictyostelida, Protostelida, or Copromyxa?
What was the second one again?
I probably pronounced it wrong. Dictyostelida. How do you pronounce it? She's laughing because I'm pronouncing it wrong. I didn't even know these were words.
I'm trying to figure out what these words are.
You had me go, and you're like, "Oh yeah, what was the second one? I'm gonna pick that one."
Well, I mean, if I have to pick, I would pick the Coprostelida, which I think is the fourth one.
These are different kinds of slime molds.
Nice. Okay.
So what kind do you have?
Well, I have the metaphorical kind.
All right.
But actually, like so I think
because I know people grow mushrooms and stuff now. I didn't know.
Well, so really quickly, if you Google slime mold farming theory of project management, and so
this is why I love doing this quiz, because it just brings up the most random things. Again, with a new social guys, I asked them effect or affect, and Ryan thought I said something about effects, and Anuj said, "Well, it depends." And they were looking at it like, I'm asking them how to spell it. And I'm not. It makes sense in my head. And this, I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
All right. Before I make more of a fool of myself, too late. Red, blue, or yellow?
Oh gosh, probably red.
Why red?
But those are the colors of the Romanian flag. I think that's the one that's the.
I totally did that on purpose too. I knew you were from California. I didn't know you were Romanian at the time. Else I would have looked it up and
But
just
that's good.
nailed
That's good.
it.
That's
I
good.
totally.
No, red is a much better color.
Oh my God.
I do appreciate the other colors as well.
All right. What does an alternate universe Anca do?
Oh boy. What does an alternate universe Anka do? I think she explores the alternate timelines.
That's not you then, because you would have known that's someone else.
I mean, maybe, yeah.
If there's infinite timelines, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
we reached out to an alternate universe Anka. I have an alternate universe phone. It changes from week to week. Right now, it is a blue pencil with little puppy paws. That has no eraser. Okay. That's actually really cute. My kids left that there, of course. And she explains she just walks around, or she's a corporate drone. And I asked her what that was in her world, and she said she just walks around the city ringing a bell saying, corporate.
I don't want my alternate universe Anka to be miserable. Like, no.
What if she's an evil Anka? She has a goatee.
Yeah, we should all worry. We should all worry. Yeah.
That went down better than I expected. Thank you. At least when I gave Jazz a crazy one like that, he's like, "What do I do with that?" That's what I'm here for, to waste an hour of your time. All right. Cats, dogs, or humans?
Yeah. Cats, humans, and dogs in that order.
Cats, humans, and dogs in that order. Okay. Yeah, because you have a whole bunch of friendly cats in your backyard, right? Or well,
no,
feral.
They're not friendly. They're feral. They're the opposite of friendly, but they're well.
Friend comes in the house. Oh, there's a cat in your backyard. Can I go pet it? Oh yeah, he's friendly. I mean feral. Yeah.
Like they run away. They don't want me to pet them, even though they're like so delightfully fluffy looking and comfy. You know?
I like the one that was in the fire pit.
Yeah.
Really cute. He's like, yeah, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, we normally have a cover on that fire pit, which makes a perfectly cat-shaped hammock. So when we have the cover on there, the cat likes to sit in the hammock.
Oh, so you didn't have the tarp on. So how dare you do that to the cat then? The cat was expecting that. That was your fault.
I'm just a jerk.
Yeah. Cats are always right? That's what they tell me. As usual, the last question will be sent telepathically to Anca. I'll send you the question. Take your time. Let me know your answer. You ready? Are your telepathic sensors open? All right.
I'm ready.
There's the question. Very, very, very long question. Obviously, real question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. I mean, it's me.
I mean, I think.
Right.
The answer is leaving my mind blank somehow. It's like the anti-question.
Was it the ultimate answer and you had it, and because it can't exist in the human mind, it just disappeared? Wow.
It's gotta be that. It's gotta be that. But otherwise, I think I would just say 42.
This is gonna be the catcher at the beginning, because this explains the nonsensicalness of the whole thing. I think that was great.
Yeah, I think it made perfect sense.
Again, this is why I love having this conversation, because there's so many people I'm like, my wife is going to be so mad if I ever meet this person in person. Because we won't shut up. Just keep going. They'll love you. She'll love everyone, but she'll be so mad at me because I can't stop talking. Be like, the kids went to bed. I'm like, good. It's what time o'clock? It's 24 days ago.
Wait, are your kids okay? Like, you can't think that long.
It's like, oh, I didn't notice. I'm busy.
Yeah, well, ozone. This is what a conversation looks like when we don't have to be like, here's a conference that we should all be
Or
like,
an unconference.
behaving on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and we need to find ways to process because I absolutely love this. I think it's great. Congratulations, you got every answer either correct or incorrect. Good job. Unfortunately, when we checked into the uninterview, it looked like a room full of people just sitting around and not allowed to talk. Seemed like Twitter, Facebook, or something. We don't need that. So, as you know, I am a talker also, and I got immediately kicked out. So we will not be able to get you that prize this time. But Anca, thank you so much for joining me. This has been amazing. We need to find ways to do like hang out with friends online or something. I don't know. Maybe a Fediverse. No, I don't think so.
If only we had some kind of online video tools to make this all happen.
Right.
But
yeah, unfortunately, that day will never come.
Yeah. Well, Ozone, thank you so much for doing this, and this was hilarious.
Thank you.
And hopefully, those of you that are watching on the chat or in the live stream have been entertained. And if not, you can send Ozone a tube, so he'll give you back your money.
And there's only a few people that will ever know the beginning of that video. And in 50 years, when they come to The Last of Us and ask, what was at the first half of the video? You will go, I am taking it to my grave, for it were so perfect.
Yeah, I replaced those brain cells with like, I don't know, my password or something. I don't know.
That's not useful. All right. Well, Anca, thank you so much. Everyone out there, thank you so much for being out there. As we talked about during the show, I can't remember if it was before or after the cut. You are the Fediverse. It's the communities that we build that are going to make this thing work. So thank you all, for all of you out there. You're all amazing. I greatly appreciate it. And if anyone ever wants to talk to me on this ridiculousness, never hesitate to let me know. But we'll catch you on the next episode. Have a great one.
Right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.